All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining in for today's live tutorial sessions, Q&A, and check in with our latest update. Sorry about the delay there. Glad to have you guys in. Hello, Dennis in the chat. Nice to have you in. So let's go ahead and get started here. So just like the last session, we're going to go ahead and take the first part of today and focus on our last update and showcase some of the features and improvements that are included with that update. All right, so to get started, we're going to jump into our help system here. Again, just kind of summary of our help system for our existing customers. This is, really your home. This is where all of our help guides are. A lot of the videos are linked through here. Down at the bottom is where you have those additional resources. And so we're going to go into the release notes. And the last update we've put out, just this Monday, we've put out 8.012. Over 100 tasks completed in this release. And overall, there's a lot of kind of stability fixes in this update, but there are some nice improvements that we're going to highlight as well. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. The first one on the list is now the ability to display product sizes on your decorated product listing. So that's a nice enhancement. We can go ahead and take a look at that. So we've had this previously only for the blank products widget. And with this change, we've now brought that into parity with the decorated products widget. So I'm going to go into my website, edit website pages to load the website page editor. From here, I'll jump into the pages tab and choose the products page, which is the way I've labeled my decorated products page. On this page here, I'll hover over my product listing and click on it to open the properties panel. And I'll click into the design tab to see the new option. So here it is, product sizes. I now have the ability to determine where I want to display that. And in my case, I want to show that below the product image itself. And once I enable that, I also have the ability to change the formatting. So I could go in and change the size if I want to make that smaller or bigger. I can also change the font and the font color. Maybe I want to tone that down so it's not as prominent. So I'll give it a light gray color. All right, so nice, overall nice option to now include the available sizes on your decorated products, not just your blanks. All right, so let's continue going down the list here. The next improvement is one related to screen printing, the screen print process. So let's jump back here. Let's load up the website itself. All right, from here, we're going to jump straight into the designer. And I'm going to choose my full front decoration area. I'll choose Add Design. And I'll add a screen print design. All right, so let's go ahead and just reuse the one I've done here. So I already have a graphic split for screen print. Let's go ahead and change which product we're using. So let's choose this white tee, and in this case, it's gonna set up on the back. So let's remove that. Let's switch it off to the front. Add design, choose that same design. It's looking pretty good. All right, so now let's, I do need to set my sizes here. So let's do 24 pieces on that. Just make sure I can add that design. All right, so again, just to show the improvement, this is happening once you're adding that item to the cart. The new improvement is to show the thumbnail of your screen print design along in the shopping cart. Previously, that was just blank for screen setups, and so it made it a bit difficult for your consumer to know, what that related to. So now it's super simple. They'll know, which screen setup correlates to which product, and it just gives them that additional insight. All right, so nice little improvement there in the checkout process. Let's jump back to our release notes here. Let's continue down the list. All right, so next one is an improvement on the back end. We won't be able to kind of visualize this, but overall, we've enhanced the algorithm used to determine how many boxes your order is going to require and the overall weight and shipping dimensions for that order. So Overall, it should be a lot more accurate. We're now taking a different approach to how we calculate the overall box dimension. So you should be seeing some more accurate pricing when it comes to your shipping charges in both Business Hub as well as your web orders. All right, the next improvement down the line here is an enhancement to the drop-down menus on your website. Let's see if we can take a look at this one. So let's jump back to the site here, head up to the home page, and let's see if I have a drop-down with submenus. Might not here. Let's see if we can quickly set this up. I'm going to jump into the page editor and let's see if I can quickly add a couple of sub items to my home page here. All right, so let's publish these changes and see if we can highlight that improvement on the website. Let's see what we can do here also is maybe just take a look at the preview version of the site. So here it is. Now under my home section here, I've got some drop-down menus. The issue was previously when you hovered over the main item, in this case sub, it would have highlighted all of these other sub options. So you would have seen everything highlighted. Now we actually take care to highlight only the specific item that your mouse is over. So it's a little bit easier for, again, the end consumer to know exactly what they're going to click on when they're mousing through those options. So it's a nice improvement, definitely going to help out your consumers. All right, let's see next improvement on the list here relating to Business Hub. So this is a nice improvement. When you're in Business Hub and you're kind of moving through orders, maybe between your team, they're sharing order numbers through email, through Slack, through text message, whatever the case is. You might not always be typing in a number. You might be copying and pasting, and oftentimes when you do a copy and paste, it might include an extra space at the end or at the beginning, depending on where you copied that from. And so you might paste that order number and then notice that it's not actually locating it because it had a space at the end. Well, now we actually ignore those spaces at the beginning, at the end of your filters. So not just for the order number, but same goes for customer name, company name. All of these fields now take care to, again, ignore all of those additional spaces at the beginning and end. And so it's a little bit more forgiving for you and your staff while you're working inside of Business Hub. You don't have to worry about going in and deleting those extra spaces. You can just you'll know that the Business Hub kind of takes care of that for you. So it's just streamlining your process, helping you not have to do so much work, and just speeding up your system overall. Cool little improvement there in Business Hub. Next one down the line here is again related to the checkout process. So this is one that was raised actually through our forums. So through our forums, we did get some users mentioning that the last step of the checkout process wasn't as optimized. The checkout button for certain payment methods, for example, PayPal, was a bit small, so it needed some improved styling to make sure that the end user, knows where to click on to complete that order. And so that's exactly what we've done. We've gone through the checkout and changed the style of that button to make sure that it's really prominent. And we could actually show this here. So this is happening on the order complete page in the checkout process. Um, and actually not that one, it's the order confirm page. All right, and so it's this button here. Now, it doesn't have this blue style. That's the style that I've put on it. But for reference, the style that we're using for that button and the style that's used for all the other buttons throughout the checkout is the important action. So whatever you style your important action to, that's the way your buttons are going to look. Again, similar to what we saw with the product sizes earlier. All of these styles can be customized through the website pages editor, through the style editor, or through that individual widget. So you might, if you want like rounded corner buttons, you can introduce that into your system. It's up to you however you want to style that. All right, so once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and save it off. So that should be a nice improvement to the checkout workflow, highlighting that final call to action for your customers to complete their order. All right, we've got a few left here to highlight. So this one's related to the search. So this is kind of a fix / an improvement. If we take a look at the search results page, so we go into Pages, Others, Search Results. We had been receiving reports that when you looked for products through the website search and you clicked a search result, it took you to a page that was showing the decorated price of a product versus you actually wanted it to show the blank product price. So now we've added an option on the search results page to configure that widget so that you set which price you want it to show. So by default, it's going to show whatever you have configured under your product. So if you go into the product section and you go into blank product display, it's going to determine it based off this. So if you have it set to show both blank and the decoration, or just the blank, or just the decoration, it's going to go off of that. So it's a nice improvement overall. Gives you a little bit more control over what links your search results will have. All right, next one down here is, okay, this one's more of a fix. Last couple of these are more of fixes. One is related to the website pages editor, one's related to Business Hub. So let's take a look at each of those and then we'll jump into some tutorials, maybe some questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise those through the chat. Posting your questions through the YouTube live chat, we'll jump in and answer those as we go along. All right, so for this last website fix that we want to highlight, this relates to your navigation items. So for example, this custom page that I have down here at the bottom, if I set that to link to external site, I could link it, maybe I have a promotional products website that I want to link to, right? And we have this option here, open in new window. And so this determines, is the user going to stay on that kind of window or tab that they're on in their browser, or is it going to open up a new window so that they can stay on my website, but then view that website separately? And usually when you're linking off your site, you want to, for the most part, open in a new window, right? You don't want the user leaving your website. You want them to stay on your website, but if they want to view that content, they can do so in that separate window that your browser will open up. So you usually want that option on, but we had an issue where even if you had that option enabled for a sub page, so a page within a page, that option was not being implemented. So everything was opening in the same window, even if you had that option on. So we've now made sure that we always follow the setting that you've configured, regardless if it's a top level page or a sub page. So very nice improvement there. On the last one again in Business Hub, this one relates to when you're editing an order or creating an order. If you go in and you're in the decorations column, let's say you want to override the price of your decorations, let's say $8, and then you hit the enter key. Previously hitting that enter key was completely reloading your Business Hub, potentially causing you to kind of lose the work that you had on that order. So now that's no longer happening. You don't have to worry about it. Make sure to hit OK on any of these pop-ups when you want to save that change. So you're hitting the OK button to close those off. And that takes care of our latest update. All right, so next up we're going to take a look at some tutorials. We have been receiving some consistent questions through the support system, so I do want to kind of highlight on that. So let's get started. I'm going to jump into my website, and what I'm going to show is how to create a product with fields that your consumer can then personalize. So this is a question that we get pretty frequently. So for this, we're going to jump into the decorated products section of the system. From here, I'm going to choose add decorated product on the top right. The first step of creating a decorated product is to go ahead and choose your blank. So I'll choose this blank here. All right, the second step of that decorative product creation is to go ahead and add the artwork. So this is kind of the critical step when you're creating a decorative product and you want it to be customized by the user or personalized by the user. This is where you're taking care of that. So this is also, for example, where you determine which decoration method that product is going to use. One thing to keep in mind when you're creating decorative products is based on which process you end up using, the system will pick up that product's attributes. So if, for example, your screen print process has a minimum of 24 pieces, that will also apply to your decorated product. So that is something to keep in mind. You may end up using a process like direct to garment so that it doesn't apply any minimums. All right, so let's go ahead and choose DTG printing. All right, and I'm just going to choose a file here from my system. Let's go into my desktop. All right, so we have a graphic on here. I'm also going to add a line of text. So down at the bottom here. Now, oftentimes, the reason why people are kind of doing this is, they want to give their customer the option to kind of personalize that item. So again, let's say this might be a department. So we'll put in the placeholder text of department. You can size that text down. All right, so now I have both these elements here. To allow personalization on either of these, what you want to do is go into the Properties panel, which is over here on the right-hand side. Click the Advanced tab to expand out those options. And there you'll find Allow Personalization, which you can turn on. So I've done that for the graphic. I can do the same for the text, again clicking the Advanced tab and choosing Allow Personalization. There's some additional sections here for the text element, like maximum number of characters. If I want to limit it to, let's say, 20 characters, you can also enable this max width option. Enabling max width is going to make it so that whatever text the user enters will not overflow past the bounds of this placeholder text. So if I enter, a text that's twice as long, it'll still be the same width of that same text element, right? So it's not going to expand beyond that because I've kind of locked in the width to be that same size that it's already set. All right, so that should be pretty helpful there. I think we're just about ready to save this off. So I have that personalized. Let me just center that. So that's looking pretty good. I've enabled it on both of these. Let's go ahead and save. Now we can give this decorative product a name. And put it into our test category. And let's save that out. Okay, so now let's take a look at that product on our website so you can see what that personalization option has done. All right, so we're going to jump into the product section. There's the item that we've just added. And you'll notice because we enabled personalization on that item, we have these fields that we can now edit. So we have that department text, which we could replace with jet propulsion. Right, so that's my department. And you can see no matter how much text I add in there, it's staying that same width, right? That's because I enabled max width. The user does have the option to change the color of that text, right? Whatever text color they want for their personalized name. Down at the bottom, since we enabled personalization on the graphic, we actually have the option to replace it. So we could change out the logo or remove that logo. So you could start seeing where some of this might come into play, right? Let's say you have a company that you're working with. They have two versions of their logo, and then maybe the department name will go underneath that, or the specific name of the person that item is for. And so you can save yourself some time by creating one item that can then be personalized by the user versus having to create all these separate items. All right, one thing to note here, this decorated product is also going to have the option to load into the full designer by clicking this Customize Design button down here at the bottom. And once you allow the user to customize that and load it up into the full designer, they have full control. So not only can they personalize those fields, they can now remove them, and they have full access to upload their own additional graphics. So that is something to keep in mind. Oftentimes when you're in that scenario where you're allowing personalization, you would actually not want to allow full customization. So in that case, you can go back into the decorated product and uncheck Allow Customize. That's also an option that you can set when you're first creating the item. I believe it's on, I think, the third step. So if we just quickly run through these so I can show you. It's on this same step where you enter in your name and description down at the bottom, you have that customized. So if you know from the start that you don't want that enabled, make sure to set that to don't allow users to customize. And that'll prevent that button from displaying. So there you're limiting the user to only personalize the item, but not fully customize it. All right, so hopefully that's helpful for you guys. The next example I want to go over is kind of along the same lines. and this relates to sublimated products. We have a lot of customers that are working in the sublimated product market. A lot of them doing kind of cut and sew style of products, like oftentimes jerseys, sports jerseys, biking jerseys, all of that type of product. And there's a certain way that you could accomplish it through the DecoNetwork system. What we don't have is the ability to define a blank product and then allow the end user to colorize that blank product to whatever they want. So when you're creating a product in the DecoNetwork system, you're predefining what the color variations are going to be. So right here's the this product from Fruit of the Loom, and it's got these set of colors, right? And the end user can't define their own color that they want for this product. Right? So these are all predefined. But oftentimes with sublimation, you actually want the user to define their own color, right? Because that's going to be sublimated and then cut and sewn. So there's no limit as to what colors they can select. So in kind of bringing that to how the DecoNetwork system works, the way you can accomplish that is by essentially taking the product and making it a design. So rather than thinking of the product as the product is just maybe an outline of the item, or it could even be like just a white box. And then the product itself is actually going to be a design element within that product. So let's run through this. I think I have an example here that we could take a look at. So first, let's start just viewing that example that's already built here, and then I'll walk through the process of creating that. All right, so here's the jersey example that we're going to go over. So again, this has some personalized text elements. If we go into customize design, we can see those text elements are in their own area, in their own print area called artwork. There's a second area called jersey, which is the one that has that design. Right, so this is not actually part of the product. It's just a design placed in a separate print area. And so the user then has the option to go in and color that however they want, right? Maybe they'd like a white jersey with, let's see, green jersey with a blue highlight on that. Right, so you can fully customize exactly how you want that to look. And so the key is to actually take what you would consider your product and turn it into a design. And so let's kind of walk through how you might accomplish that. First step would be to start with the blank product itself. I already have the blank product set up, but I'll just show it so you can get an idea of what it would look like. So it's this example here. For the product image, what I've done is I've used the same graphic, but just as an outline form. So there's no fill on any of that. It's just the outline of the product. And as far as the print areas, what I've done is I've defined two different print areas. One is the jersey print area, which is a full square encompassing that entire item. All right, so that first jersey area is encompassing the entire product. And the second print area, again, it's much smaller, and that's just to take the artwork that's going to go on the jersey. So depending on how you want that jersey decorated, you could also make that larger, right? If you take artwork anywhere on that item because you're going to cut and sew that, you can enlarge that to fit the full product as well. But that's kind of up to you, however you want to size that. All right, so that's kind of the example that we're working with. If we now jump back into the website itself, when it comes time to do the decorated product, again, we go into create decorated product. We choose that jersey as our example. All right, and from this point, you have the ability to select which print area you want to design on, whether it's the jersey area or the artwork. And so for the jersey, you'll drop in that graphic. Let me see if I can find that here. All right, there's the graphic for the jersey. And so we can go ahead and size that and place it exactly to match our corresponding product image. And just like we saw with the previous decorated product, if you wanted to allow that as a personalized graphic, you can enable that option. Now switching over to the artwork, you could add any additional text elements if you want that. Right, like maybe this is for a biking team, and so you can add a placeholder for the team name where they can go in and just type in whatever their specific team is and enable that for personalization as well. All right, so if we look at this example here, since I allowed personalization on the jersey graphic, you can actually change the colors from the product page here. And so it makes it super simple for your customer to go in and customize that item to however they want. Right, so super simple. And this would work for any type of product that you're doing a sublimation. In this case, it's a jersey, but we've seen other things like sleeves, bandanas. Depending on the item, you'll set up the product with that corresponding product image and design. All right, so hopefully that helps out. I do see a question here on the chat. Sungwon is asking about creating shipments in Business Hub through DecoNetwork. So the question is, how do you create multiple boxes for one order through UPS? So we can take a look at that. Let me load up the Business Hub here. All right, so let me see if I have any pending shipments. I do. So let's view this order here that needs to be shipped. When you view an order under the shipping tab, you'll have the option to record shipment. If you're using UPS live integration, you actually have the ability to purchase postage. Now, the thing to keep in mind is when you're recording a shipment, you're recording one package, one box. So if you wanted multiple boxes, you need to record those as separate shipments. So the system does allow you to say, for example, how many of each item are included in every package. So essentially, you would do record shipment. Let's say it's a 200-piece order, and it's going to be 2 boxes. So you would go in, you would say, 100 are in this box, and then on the second box, you'll do the other 100. Right, so you're entering the amount for each package, and then you're using that to record the shipment. Now, as far as the integration, those are going to get charged as separate shipments. but that would be the way you would do additional boxes. So they actually have to be separate shipments. I believe if you're using the direct UPS tool, you can do one shipment with multiple packages. That's not currently possible in DecoNetwork. So if you are looking to do more of that setup, you would essentially do the purchasing of the postage outside of DecoNetwork. And when it comes time to recording that in DecoNetwork, you'll just record it as already shipped, right? So in that case, you would not purchase the postage through Business Hub. All right, hopefully that answers the question. All right, so let's see here. We could jump back onto some additional tutorials. Let's see, I have a follow-up from that question as well. Multiple boxes discount. Right, yeah, not within DecoNetwork. So if you're purchasing the postage through DecoNetwork, you can't do multiple boxes for one postage payment. Each box would be a separate postage payment. So if you want kind of a discount for having multiple boxes in a shipment, again, you'll purchase that externally through DecoNetwork. You'll use either the UPS website or UPS WorldShip software to do that, and then you'll just mark those orders as recorded, or I'm sorry, as shipped in DecoNetwork. All right, thanks for that question. Let's jump back here to our dashboard. So we do have questions quite frequently about the website page editor. So I'd like to kind of jump back there and see if we can't kind of focus on some of that and maybe make that available as a resource for people who are new to the website pages editor and not sure kind of where to get started. So the first one is kind of down at the bottom of your website. Depending on which theme you've selected, you're going to have a set of links down at the bottom. And those links can be customized. You can put essentially any page that you have within your site, you can link to through those list of links widgets. So what we're looking at is how to customize the list of links widget in the website pages editor. So for my particular theme, I just have one widget over here under the navigation section. And these are kind of the default links that are included. But what I can do is go in and say add link. And now I'm presented with all of the pages in my system. For example, even those ones that I added here through the live session for those sub pages, right? So any page that's in my system is showing up in this drop down. And so if I wanted to add that sub page, for example, as a link there, all I need to do is select it. There is also a section for a web address. So if you're linking off to an external site, you can do the same as well. Just select website address, type in that URL that you're linking to. One thing to kind of keep in mind is if you are linking to an external site through here, you want to make sure to include the full URL, including HTTP or HTTPS. Otherwise, if you leave it, let's say www.google.com, we'll treat that as if it were kind of a page within your site, right? So it would be like my site www.google.com. So to prevent that, you want to just drop in HTTP at the beginning of that. All right, in addition to that, we also have the group link option, which allows you to select, for example, your main navigation. So if you wanted to have a list of links down here that mirrors your top navigation, right, you just select the main navigation option, and that'll take care of displaying those links. So there's some additional groups there, child pages. So that would be like the child pages of the current page that you're on. So let's say I go to sub, then it's going to show sub 1 and sub 2 there. So that's all of the child pages within. Sibling pages, any pages that are on the same path as the page that you're currently on. So if you're on home and next to home you also have products, create, designs, you'll see all of those sibling pages. So some of these kind of, again, they're dynamic, so it's in the name, they're dynamic, they correlate to whatever page that the user is on. So those won't be static, and that's why kind of they're not showing right now. They'll update based on which page the user is on. All right, so hopefully this clarifies some of the information on how to set up that list of links of widget. So if you did want to add a new one, you'll simply go into the widgets tab, scroll to the bottom, it's under advanced, and just drag that in. And then again, you can start choosing from those available options. All right, so that's the list of links widget. All right, we have a question from Dennis through the chat. He's asking how to change the cost price from a product coming from a catalog. So that's a good point, Dennis. We do get that question from time to time. And so I do want to clarify on that. Let's jump over to the products section. All right, and let's take a look at this item here, pick a random item. So when it comes to pricing, let me first click into the pricing tab. So again, I've gone in, I've configured an item, and I'm now in the pricing tab. So this is where we can see the price breakdown of an item. So this happens to be a catalog product. So at the top here, the first part of the breakdown is the supplier base cost. And so I'm assuming this is what you're trying to change. And to clarify, there's no way to change this price. This price will always be the price that's coming from the vendor in terms of the vendor to DecoNetwork, right? There's no way for you to adjust this and say, you know, I want this to be $1, right? This is always going to be the price that the vendor provides DecoNetwork. You do have some option to affect that price, and that comes in the way of selecting which price level you want to use for a specific supplier. So if you go into supplier account details, there you can edit a supplier, and you'll see the option to select which price level. So whether you want piece price, dozen price, or case price. So that's the extent to which you can change the cost prices on the catalog products. Once you've made a selection on your supplier cost price level, every product will just pull in from that database. What you do have the option to do is to change the selling price, right? So you can't change the cost, but you can affect the selling price one of many ways. The first one would be to change the markup. So if you go in and say, I want this product to have a different markup, you do that by pressing the configure icon next to the markup and changing from default markup to custom markup. And I now have this input field under the percentage where I could change that, let's say, to 25%, or maybe I want to raise it to 100%. Right? So that's one way to change the selling price based on the starting cost. The alternative would be for you to specify your own price. So under the blank product price row here, we have also a configure icon where you can switch from use supplier base cost plus markup, which is the current model that we're using, to specify a blank product price. So once you change to specify, you have three sub options that you can choose from. So you could do either SKU-based pricing, single price, or price per color type. So single price gives you one input field to change. So let's say you want to sell that for $5. You can do that with single price. Different price per color type works similar to that, except you can set a different price based on the color type of the item. So if it's a white shirt, you might be $5. If it's light, it might be 7, and if it's dark, it might be 9. Right? So you can change that, and it'll differ based on the color type of the specific color variant that the user is choosing, which is defined under the colors tab of an item. So under colors, you see all of the available colors, and then on the right-hand side, which color type that color is. So charcoal is dark, whereas athletic heather is light, light blue is light. Right? So there's some differentiation there from color to color as to which color type is being used, and that'll correlate with the separate price per color type. And then the last option is for you to enter in your own SKU pricing. So if you choose that, you're going to get the full table, the full matrix of colors and sizes, and here you can specify the price for every size and color combination that you want, which is similar to the supplier-based cost plus markup, right? So with supplier cost plus markup, there we're taking the supplier SKU pricing and then just adding a percentage to that. All right, so hopefully that clarifies, Dennis. I guess the main takeaway is you cannot change the cost price. The cost price comes from the vendor and is delivered to DecoNetwork, and that's what we're using. You can go in and change which price level you're using, which will adjust that slightly. Usually piece price is the highest price from the vendor. Case price is usually the lowest. And so you'll make that determination as to which one most closely matches what you pay your supplier. All right, so I think with that question, we're going to go ahead and close out the session for today. I want to thank you guys for joining in today, for asking those questions. As far as the next session, we are going to be timing these along with our updates. So we've just put out an update on Monday. We covered the changes and improvements in that update with this session. We're usually putting out updates about once a month, so probably tune in about a month for the next session. We'll make sure to share that with you guys through our blog as well as through the Business Hub welcome screen when that's coming up. So keep an eye on those to stay up to date. For anyone that's watching who's not yet a DecoNetwork subscriber, I do encourage you to head over to DecoNetwork.com if you're interested in the software and you want more insight into the capabilities and what it could do for your business. Make sure to book a tour and join in with a session with one of our client services team members, and they'll walk you through that entire process, show you the system, and see if it's a good fit for you. All right, so again, thanks for joining in, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.